Okay, in this tutorial we're going to be looking at using 3DCoat to unwrap sections of your vehicle. So open up the file ls_example. It's called ls because this is a section of a Lincoln LS car that I had to model for a client years and years ago. Okay, so what we want you to do is select this piece here, and we'll call this TA_front bumper, and then I want you to go to export selected and TA front bumper, and you can export as an FBX. Now obviously there are tons of options in your FBX format here, but the default for will work fine actually for 3DCoat, so you should be fine. So once that's exported, come over to 3DCoat and import a model. We're going to import model for per pixel painting, and then we'll select TA front bumper and go to open. Okay, the default's fine. Okay, so with our model now in here, it's going to turn off the grid. We're going to view grid. Now you'll see you start in paint mode, so make sure you're in UV mode. And you'll see it'll actually guess where you want your seams to go. So I'm just going to hit clear seams to start from scratch. And I'm going to go around defining where I want seams to be. Obviously this back panel area here, that can be a separate UV, so I'll start off by doing that one. And with viewport controls, if you hold right mouse button you can dolly in and out. If you hold left mouse button you can rotate around. And obviously just be careful with your seams, make sure you can see where they're all going, because sometimes they'll go around like that one for instance. See how far that's going around there. Now I do actually want that, but you just need to make sure that you know, you're not covering any areas you don't want to. Okay, there we go, I'm missing one edge there at the top. To pan around you hold Alt and middle mouse button. Actually, you just hold middle mouse button. So you can do it all via the mouse. Okay, so once it's got a different colour, we know that that's now split into a separate island. So another one we can do is this one under the car here. There we go, so now we've got 3 islands. And now if we want to, we can just hit unwrap, and let's just see how that's currently looking. There we go, we can see this bit isn't looking so hot, but our base panel's looking good and our back panel's also looking good. Okay, so I think we'll split this top panel off as well. And I think, just because from experience, I think we'll actually put the cut straight in the centre here, so that this fold is taken by this top island and this fold will be taken by this island. Let's undo that. We'll have that going up there. There we go, that looks like it's going to work. Then obviously we need to do this island here. That's not a bad start, but we're going to need, you can see from that preview, we're going to need to break that up in some way. So obviously there's some options here. I could split this section off perhaps. Let's try that first. If you find it easy, by the way, if you go to node checker here, it can be easier to see the seam display sometimes. Now that's not looking too bad. Obviously that bit's going to be a bit more difficult. So I'm going to hold edge loops. I'm going to hold Control and click, and that will take those edge loops out. And let's try another edge loop here. instead. Remember, if it's not gone a different colour, it means you know it's still part of the island, so there's still something there. And there we go, you can see there's one there that's not done. There we go. That's looking better. Okay, let's try unwrapping that and see what result we get this time. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Obviously, you can tell from 3DCoat here, you've got the red areas of where polys are being enlarged and blue is where they're being shrunk down. So we can do a few tweaks here, making sure you're on island mode. We select the two we might want to tweak and hit relax. Now we'll actually relax them out a bit. On this one we could try ABF, try LSCM, and get a nice result from LSCM there. If you find they're overlapping like that, then you can try just repacking. And once that's done, that will pack out the UVs properly. Now obviously this is quite a nice unwrap actually, but you have to be careful where you have your seams. Actually there I've put a seam, I don't really need one, so we'll take that out. So obviously at the moment we're going to have a seam here, so that's probably our most problem seam. Every other seam is fine, the only one that might cause us problems is this one, but I still think this is probably the best result we're going to get from that, so we will leave that for now. So unwrapped object, make sure you apply UV set, otherwise you won't save out your UVs. Seem to be very quick to do that. Maybe I'm just used to working with high poly models. Once that's done, we can go export model. Try and get away from the terrible naming conventions I have sometimes. I'm just going to call this TO front bumper unwrapped. Now obviously one thing to bear in mind with this is just an example, but really you would have mirrored the geometry on this, welded them together and then unwrapped that section. Like obviously here I'm working on half a model, so bear in mind you'd unwrapped it after you had mirrored and symmetried it. So we'll go import, front bumper unwrapped. Okay, so if you find you are having some problems when it imports it in, such as here you see it's done it very small, it will just be because of the units conversion. So if you go back to import and select your unwrapped version, then scroll down to your advanced options units, you see you've got scale factor of 0.01. Now you want to make sure that's set to 1. So if I hit OK on that, you see that now comes in fine, and our unwrapped version is there. Now if it's named exactly the same, it will just replace the old version as well. So it's fine too. But there you go, got our unwrapped model in the scene. So just be wary though, if you do have any issues with importing, it will be because of that scale factor. And obviously, usual things, make sure you do reset transform scale.